With today's Ask Nancy question, Karina from Gainesville, Texas wants to know why some cakes use baking soda and others use baking powder. And that's a great question.
It's really going to depend on what else is in the recipe. And when you have a baking soda and a baking powder in either of the recipe, what they're doing is they're called a leavening agent, so they actually help the baked product to rise, and that's what gives you your height and your tenderness. Now with baking soda, when you see that in a recipe, you're going to need an acid to activate it so that you start getting that bubbling carbon dioxide to rise.
Would that be like chocolate or yogurt?
Yeah, chocolate, yogurt, sour cream. Sometimes you'll see vinegar in there, or lemon, buttermilk. Now, if you don't have buttermilk, which I don't keep buttermilk on hand at home, I'll take my regular milk and put about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in there, or you can use vinegar. Stir it up, let it sit for about 10 minutes. So then you have your buttermilk. So if you're making a cake that calls for that, that's a kind of a quick tip. Now, what happens with baking soda, as soon as it gets wet, it starts to activate. So you want to make sure that you don't let your batter sit around. You want to pour it right in your pan and get it in the oven. Now with baking powder, it's a double acting. So when the moisture hits the baking powder, or you put your baking powder in your recipe, it begins to release some carbon dioxide. That's why if you see your batter sitting there, you'll see little bubbles kind of popping up.
So it's a two-procedure process.
It's a two-procedure. The second procedure is in the oven when the heat starts hitting the batter, and then it will also rise then.
And then you can make baking powder if you don't have it on hand, right, with baking soda?
Yes, you can. If you have baking soda, you want to use 2 parts of cream of tartar to 1 part of baking soda, and you'll basically get your baking powder.
So now we know. We hope you all have great success with your next baking project.
Next on Ask Nancy, decorating with royal icing.